The escape pod screamed through the atmosphere of Terrace 9, trailing fire and debris. Inside, Marcus Chong gripped the controls with white knuckles. His military training, the only thing keeping him alive as alien fighters pursued him through the debris field. He wasn't supposed to be here. The supply run to the mining colony should have been routine. But the Valthuran attack had changed everything. The pod slammed into the forest canopy, branches tearing at the hull before it finally crashed into a clearing. Marcus kicked open the hatch, stumbling into the alien jungle with his sidearm drawn. The fighters screamed overhead, their weapons lighting up the twilight sky. Then he saw her. She lay crumpled against a massive tree, her silver armor cracked and bleeding a luminescent blue fluid. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, with pale skin that seemed to shimmer in the fading light. Her eyes opened as he approached, violet and filled with pain. The ornate crown still attached to her armor told him exactly what she was. Royalty. Marcus had maybe 5 minutes before those fighters circled back. He holstered his weapon and knelt beside her, assessing the damage. A plasma burn had torn through her side, and without treatment, she would die within the hour. "Can you understand me?" he asked. She spoke, her voice melodic but strained. Her language was incomprehensible, but the universal translator in his emergency kit caught enough. "Leave me. They hunt me. You will die, not today." Marcus pulled medical supplies from his pack. The foam sealant wasn't designed for alien physiology, but biology was biology. He worked quickly, cleaning the wound and applying pressure. She gasped, her hand gripping his arm with surprising strength. The fighters returned, their searchlights cutting through the trees. Marcus pulled her deeper into the forest, half carrying her weight as she struggled to stay conscious. They found a cave system, and he dragged her inside just as the fighters made another pass. For 3 days, they hid. Marcus used his survival training to keep them alive, foraging for water and food while monitoring her condition. The translator improved with each conversation, and he learned her name was Lyria. She was the queen of the Valfex Empire, betrayed by her own council and left to die on this backwater world. "Your people will come," Marcus told her on the second night as he changed her bandages. The wound was healing faster than he expected, but she was still weak. Perhaps. Lyria watched him work with those striking violet eyes. "Why do you risk yourself for me? Your kind and mine have never met before this war." Marcus shrugged. "Where I come from, we have a saying. Do the right thing, even when nobody's watching." She studied him for a long moment. "You are strange human, but I think I understand why your species frightens the council. You are unpredictable." On the third night, her rescue fleet arrived. Massive ships descended through the clouds, their weapon systems turning the forest into daylight. Valfex soldiers moved through the trees with military precision, and Marcus knew his time with Lyria had ended. She stood, fully healed now, her bearing regal despite the torn armor. "You saved my life, Marcus of Earth. I am in your debt." "No debt." He backed toward the cave entrance. "Just get home safe. Wait." She stepped closer, and for the first time, he saw uncertainty in her expression. "Come with me. I can offer you anything. Position, wealth, a place at my court." Marcus shook his head. "I have people looking for me too. A family. A life. But thank you." She moved faster than he expected, her hand catching his face. Her lips pressed against his, the kiss both foreign and electric. When she pulled away, she pressed something into his palm. A small crystal that pulsed with inner light. "If you ever need me," she whispered, "break this. Anywhere in the galaxy. I will come." Then her soldiers surrounded them, and she transformed back into the queen. Cold, commanding, untouchable. Marcus slipped away into the forest as her ship lifted into the sky. the crystal burning in his pocket. 5 years later, Marcus stood in the kitchen of his small apartment on Mars Colony, stirring coffee and watching the news feed. The war had ended 2 years ago with a treaty nobody understood. The Valfex Empire had withdrawn, and humanity had been left alone. He'd gotten out of the military, taken a job as a logistics coordinator, and built something resembling a normal life. The crystal sat in a drawer, unused and mostly forgotten. The doorbell chimed. Marcus frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. He opened the door and found himself staring at a woman who looked almost human. Pale skin, violet eyes, and features that seemed too perfect to be natural. She wore civilian clothes, but he recognized the way she carried herself. "Hello, Marcus." Lyria smiled, and it transformed her face from beautiful to devastating. "May I come in?" He stepped aside, his mind racing. "How did you find me?" "I am a queen. Finding one human is not difficult." She walked into his apartment, examining everything with open curiosity. "You never called." "I waited. You're a queen. I'm nobody. What would be the point?" She turned to face him, and her expression was surprisingly vulnerable. "The point would be that I have not stopped thinking about you for 5 years. The point would be that you are the only person in the galaxy who saw me as Lyria, not as a crown. The point would be that I am tired of being alone." Marcus felt his carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. "You can't be serious. We're from different species, different worlds. You have an empire to run. I have advisors for that." She moved closer. "I came because I needed to know. That night in the cave, before my soldiers arrived, I felt something I had never experienced. I need to know if it was real or just gratitude for saving my life. And if it was just gratitude, then I will leave and never trouble you again." Her hand touched his chest. "But I do not think it was." Marcus looked into those violet eyes and knew he was lost. "This is insane, yes." Her smile widened. "Your species seems to thrive on insanity. Perhaps I am learning." He kissed her, and this time there was no battlefield urgency, no threat of discovery. Just two people who had found something unexpected in the chaos of war. Later, as they sat on his couch with cups of coffee, Lyria explained. She had spent 5 years consolidating her power, rooting out the traitors, and ending the war. She had done everything a queen should do, but the throne had felt increasingly empty. "I can offer you nothing simple," she admitted. "If we pursue this, it will be complicated and difficult. The court will object. Your own people may question your loyalty. Are you asking me to come with you?" "I am asking if you want to try." She took his hand. "I have ships. We could split time between worlds. I have resources to make it work if you want it to work." Marcus thought about his quiet life, his routine job, his comfortable loneliness. Then he thought about the woman beside him, who had crossed the galaxy because she couldn't stop thinking about a human who showed her kindness when she needed it most. "This is completely insane," he said. "I believe we established that already." He squeezed her hand. "When do we leave?" Lyria's smile could have lit up the colony. "Whenever you're ready." I cleared my schedule for the next month. Apparently, even queens can take vacations. They spent that month between worlds. Marcus met her empire, and she learned about humanity. It wasn't easy. There were protests, political complications, and endless negotiations. But they made it work because they both wanted it to work. 6 months later, Marcus stood beside Lyria on the observation deck of her flagship, watching Earth rotate below. He'd been named the official human liaison to the Valfex Empire, a position that had never existed before and came with more complications than benefits. But when she took his hand and smiled, none of that mattered. "Do you regret it?" she asked. Giving up your quiet life? Marcus pulled her close, marveling at how natural it felt. I saved a queen's life, shared a night, and disappeared. Then she found me again. How could I regret that? Lyria laughed, the sound rich and genuine. Your species has another saying I learned. Something about fools and love? Only fools fall in love. The rest of us walk into it with our eyes open. Marcus kissed her temple. I guess that makes us both fools. Then I am content to be foolish. She rested her head against his shoulder. Thank you, Marcus, for saving me in more ways than one. Outside the viewport, stars stretched to infinity, and somewhere between those stars lay a future neither of them could have predicted. But they would face it together, the human and the queen, proving that sometimes the most unexpected connections were the ones worth fighting for. And in his pocket, the crystal she had given him 5 years ago still pulsed with light, a reminder that some debts were never meant to be repaid, only honored.